Okay, so this is session 1, getting started with Python. My name is Ram, and this is the new portal skillpedia.co. Alright, so what we can expect in this lecture: introduction to Python, highlights, history and features, supported platforms, installing Python on Linux, running Python script from command line, integrated development environment. We're going to talk about IDE, which is a very good integrated environment, but though we have more. First Python program, identifiers and reserve words in Python, quotation and comments in Python, and how to take user input. Introduction. Python was conceived in late 80s and its implementation was started 1989 by Guido van Rossum. Python was named after a sketch comedy, British sketch comedy, that was Monty Python's Flying Circus series. It's a high level. When you say high level, what does it mean? High level means the language which we as a human being can understand, which has English-like words, which does not have a machine language, which does not have assembly language. So English words, English grammar, that is high level language. Interpreted means every line is translated and executed before moving on to the next line. There are two types of languages: interpreter based languages and compiler based languages. The interpreter based languages works line by line, statement by statement, goes statement by statement. And the compiler based languages, the compiler read the whole program, check for grammatical errors, and if there is no error in the program, it will translate the whole program into machine language called binary language or binary program or executable. So Python is interpreter based language. Interpreted language means every statement is executed one by one, and it's not converted, it's not compiled. So it is interpreted. Interactive, that means it can give you a prompt like shell, and you start writing your program, your shell, your code right at the prompt, Python prompt. Object oriented, there are different approaches of programming, like procedural programming, where we write procedures, functions, we put them together to come out of a bigger application. Object oriented is where we write objects and classes. Object is an independent object which consists of the function and the variable on which the function is going to operate. So object oriented. Scripting language. So there's so many definitions. This sentence explains so many things about Python. What Python is. Designed to be highly readable. That's a very interesting point about readable. When you talk about C language or Java language, they give you freedom of spaces. You can have as much space wherever you want, where you don't want. You can continue the multiple statement in the same line. You decide where the blocks start, where the one segment of code start, where it ends. But Python makes sure that you don't go out of, on your own. It gives you indentation, it gives you alignment. When you write the program, you are actually documenting it right when you are writing it. And it is mandatory, which uses English keywords frequently, whereas other languages use punctuation. And it has fewer syntactical constructions than other languages. It's more of intuitive language, I must say, Python. Highlights of Python. Python is interpreted, as I said. It is processed at runtime by interpreter, and you do not need to compile your program before executing it, which compiler based languages like C language is compiler based. Java also is compile based language. We compile the program. C++ compiler based language. COBOL is a compiler based language. before executing it. Python is interactive. You can actually sit at the Python prompt and interact with the interpreter directly, just like shell prompt, the way you do with shell prompt. What do you do with the shell prompt? You start writing the commands, shell interpreter execute your commands and respond back with the result of the command. That's how shell interpreter works. Similarly, Python can also give you that kind of prompt. You can interact with Python directly, write your programs. It's object oriented, supports object oriented style or technique of programming that encapsulates code within objects. If you recollect, I defined the object as a well-defined boundary around a function and a variable on which those function works. Well-defined boundary. When I say object, you think of this object. This is an object. Now, pen is an object. Anything can be treated as an object. Mouse is an object. So these objects have boundary which separate them from the rest of the world. But if you want to get something done from that, you have to send instructions. So they can interact with the outside world, but that does not mean they are part of the world. So they can interact with the outside world, but still they maintain their boundary. These, the way they interact with the outside world is called them methods by which they interact. There are some functionality inside them which are not visible to the outside world. That's protection. So they give you that encapsulation of the concept of encapsulation, where data is hidden, data is not visible, and data and code part you can hide. That's the concept of object-oriented programming, or technique of programming that encapsulates code within objects. Python is beginner's language, very easy. When you start working in it, even if you don't have any experience with Python or little knowledge of programming, you can start building your concept, you can start building programming. It's a great language for beginners, programmers, and it supports the development of a wide range of applications, from simple text processing to www browsers to games. Means you can think of writing any kind of application, any kind of program in Python. That is the reason it has become so popular now that data scientists are using Python. Machine learning is done in Python. Artificial intelligence is possible because of Python. So many development work, so many projects are written in Python. Ansible uses Ansible modules, they are written in Python. So Python is actually can be used to automate, can be used to develop system level programs, user level applications, any kind of development you can do in Python. It is such a vast subject, such a broader scope language, I must say. History of Python. Python was developed at National Research Institute for Mathematics and the Computer Science at Netherlands. Python was derived from many other languages. Like if you ask, is it based on something, some existing language? Is it derived from some specific language? How it was conceived, how the idea was conceived. Actually, it came out of, drawbacks of many languages. The common issues or challenges which other languages had. Python was an outcome of that research. Because it is derived from many languages, you will find the similarity including ABC language, Modula 3 language, C language, C++ language, Algol 68, Smalltalk, and Unix shell, and other scripting language. That means you can say safely that Python is a mix of many languages. It has taken best of all. It's copyrighted like Perl. Python source code is now available under the GNU public license GPL. Python is now maintained by a core development team at the institute, although Guido van Rossum still holds the vital role in directing its progress. The features, Python features, easy to learn. Relatively few keywords. Keywords are basically the words which the language recognize and act upon. which you cannot use for your own identifiers, for your own variables, for your own purpose. Simple structures like conditional execution of statements, repetition structures, variables, data types, simple structures, and very well defined clear syntax. Easy to learn, that will make it. Easy to read, code is much more clearly defined and visible to the eyes because of the conditions, because of the syntax. When you are writing Python program, you have to keep that in mind yourself. If you don't do that, Python will not forgive you. Easy to maintain. Python's success is that its source code is fairly easy to maintain. Broad standard library. One of the Python greatest strength is the bulk of the library is very portable. Portable refer to you can port the source code from one architecture to another. That means from one platform to another you can take the source code without any problem. So it is a portable and cross-platform compatible on Unix, Windows and Macintosh. Interactive mode. It supports an interactive mode, as I said, because it gives you a prompt, Python prompt, like shell prompt, which you can enter results from a terminal window, write to the language, and following interactive testing and debugging of the snippets of the code. That gives you another advantage of Python. It's a portable language. Python can run on a variety of hardware platforms and has same interface on all platforms. It's very easy platforms. Extendable. You can add low-level modules to the Python interpreter. These modules enable programmer to add to or customize their tools to be more efficient. Databases. Whether you are using MySQL, whether you are using DB2, whether you are using Microsoft SQL Server or Oracle, Python provides interface to all commercial and open source databases. We are going to understand the connectivity of Python with MySQL, with CSV, that is Excel exported file, comma separated text, and other databases. That's a part of our training program. We are going to discuss how Python handles those databases and how can we work, how you can write application, how can we develop an application to interact with MySQL using Python. GUI programming. You can develop very beautiful programs, excellent programs, in user interactive programs which gives you graphical user interface. It supports GUI application that can be created and ported to many system calls, libraries and Windows system such as Windows MFC or Macintosh or X Windows system of Unix. Scalable. It provides a better structure and support for large program than shell scripting. That's why it goes way beyond the shell scripting and the constraints of shell scripting. Some advanced features of Python. Supports for functional and structured programming methods as well as object-oriented programming. It can be used as a scripting language or can be compiled to a bytecode. Means you can use it as a scripting language. You can also compile the source code of Python to get into a binary program, and you can use that binary for building large applications. Very high level dynamic data types and support dynamic type checking. It supports automatic garbage collection. What is garbage? Garbage in computer world, in programming context, is the memory areas which is used but you never cleaned up. Means memory areas created, variable declared, but memory areas not cleaned up. That's called garbage. So unused memory areas, it can collect them and put them back into the memory segment and available memory. It can be easily integrated with C, C++, COM, ActiveS, Corba and Java. Any other language actually, you can integrate Python with that. Getting Python, the most up-to-date and current source code, binaries, documentation, news, etc. is available on the official website of Python, that is www.python.org. You can download Python documentation from python.org/doc. The documentation is available in HTML, PDF and PostScript formats. So this is the URL python.org. You see about downloads, documentation, community, success stories, news and events. It's worth going through. Very easy. Look at this. This is actually the Python prompt. That's how you define it. It's so easy, and this is actually trying to make you understand. See, Python is a very easy programming language. Had I have to do this in C or other language, it would have been very difficult for me. Hard to do it. Python installation on Linux. So let's directly do this rather than studying here. Let's go to the demonstration part. So this is my Linux machine, and this is CentOS 7. So in order to see Python, you have the command yum what provides Python. If you use only Python word, it will check Python version 2.7, which is to be precise. But if you want the latest version of Python, you have to use 3 as a suffix. And now it is Python 3 is the 3.6 version is the latest. If I type which Python, this is version 2.7 version available here, but if I type which Python 3, that's also available in user bin Python 3. That means your computer can have multiple version of Python available at any point in time. So to install Python, you can install these packages like yum install Python 3. And this will install. In my case, if it is already installed, I'm getting the message that it's already installed in the latest version. If I have to install Python 2.7, I will check that and it will report back that yes, it's already installed. Similarly, we have tools, Python 3 tools. That gives you IDE, that is IDLE, integrated learning environment. So that you can use with Python 3 tools. If this package is installed, it is good. If not, you have to install it. Like if I try yum provides IDLE, which I was talking about. In fact, idle 3 it is, not idle, idle 3. Because idle was for earlier version, Python 2.7, old version of Python. In the latest version it is idle 3. So I just explained that yum what provides Python 3. And you'll see the package name, and then you install this yum install Python 3. So if it is already installed, you will get the message something like this, that if it is already installed. This will be applicable for CentOS 7, RHEL 7, RHEL 8, CentOS 8, Oracle Linux 8, Scientific Linux 8, Fedora. All flavor of Linux will have the same command. Running Python 3, interactive interpreter, as I said. Enter Python 3 and start coding in the interactive interpreter at the command line. You simply start with Python 3. So you type Python 3 and you'll get the prompt. This is Python prompt. And you'll see the version. You can type help, copyright, credit or license for more information about this. These are some of the shortcut or command line options which we generally prefer. -D to provide debug output. -O to generate optimized bytecode. It will result into PYO. The same -O is used in GCC also compiler. All compiler options have compilers have this option like GCC, G++. This optimize O2, OS -O. There are multiple levels of optimizations actually. This -O stands for optimization. V for verbose output, that is detailed trace on import statements. And -C command, run Python script sent as command string, CMD string. And then file, run Python script from a given file. So file means whatever file you specify. So you type Python 3 followed by the file name. That's how you run Python. Running a script from the command line, that's what I was talking about. For example, you created one file, script.py. So you'll run it like this, Python 3 file name, that is script.py. You'll execute it like this. First Python program. At the Python prompt, simply type hello Python and you will get the output. So this is so simple. In shell scripting we used to use echo command. Here we use print command. Print, within parentheses you type whatever you want to type, the message within double quote. So within double quote, in parentheses, whatever you type, that will be displayed. So This is how I invoke my Python 3 interpreter. And then I took a variable also. Look at this here, x is equal to input something, and that means it will display you something. Let's do this. Actually, this is a very good example. X is equal to input something. Let's try this. This is taking away time, so let's start Python 3. Within parentheses, type something, whatever message you want to display, and you will get the message. Type something. Okay, I'm typing Yao Boteng. Alright, so it is display Yao Boteng. If I use input x equal to input something, so whatever I will type, Yao for example, this word have gone to x, and if I simply type x, I'll get the message Yao. So I can assign it to a variable. I can directly print the message. How you want to take, where you want to keep it, you want to display the value directly or you want to put it to a variable, choice is yours. So this is how easy it is. I just demonstrated this both part with directly putting it to variable or without variable. Then we have IDE, also integrated environment. Let's write a simple Python script. All Python files will have .py extension. So this is the tool which I was trying to install. In fact, in my case it is already installed, and I have taken the screenshot from there itself. This screenshot is from here. So when you start this IDLE 3, it will display this screenshot, and this will open a window. So here the same message is displayed and display the shell prompt only. I mean the Python prompt only. So you start working in independent environment of Python inside this IDLE. There are other integrated development environment. Eventually, definitely I will introduce you to all those environments, and which one is good, you will decide which one you want to use. There are multiple development environments available for Python. Python identifiers. What is identifier, by the way? Identifier is a name used to identify a variable, function, or class, or module, or object. In simplest possible term, identifier is a name. You give a name to your variable, you give a name to your function, you give a name to your class. Identifier is any name. Any name must start with uppercase A or small case a, or from A to Z, uppercase or lowercase, or underscore followed by 0 or more letters, underscores and digits. That means it allows you to use alphabets, digits and underscore to be used as variable names, or the names, to be honest. Python does not allow punctuation characters like @ symbol, dollar symbol, percentage symbol within the variable name. That means you have restrictions. You can't take a variable of any type. You can't use any character in the variable name of your choice. You are restricted that what all characters you can use in your variable names. Naming convention for Python. Python is case sensitive. Like Unix, Python is also case sensitive. Naming conventions, not rules. Convention means what we have been following and which is understood, that yes, for example, this is white color. This is convention. Nobody can prove that it is not a black color. It is convention. We agreed upon some universal truth. So some conventions for Python are: class names start with uppercase letter and all other identifiers with lowercase letters. Starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicate by convention that identified is meant to be a private, it is not a public. Starting an identifier with 2 leading underscores indicate a strongly private identifier. We'll understand these words, private and strongly private. If the identifier also ends with 2 trailing underscore, the identifier is a language defined special name. That means single underscore, double underscore, trailing underscore all have different meaning, different conventions in Python. List and indentation, that is the power that gives the readability. There are no braces to indicate blocks of code for class and function identification or flow control. means like C language has curly braces, Java has curly braces. Here we don't have any. Like Pascal have begin end. All languages have some kind of marks to indicate that my block is starting, my block is ending here, right? Like if some condition is true, you will start with curly braces, you will write your statement and you close curly braces. This curly braces will indicate start and close of your scope of a statement in C language. But Python does not have. Bash does not have any such in this curly braces or this. Bash does not have any space. Bash does not have. Bash is exclusively from statement to statement. We don't use curly braces or we don't use. And Bash is slightly because it's far better than Bash. Bash does not have any such constraint. Blocks of code are denoted by line indentation. This is very particular about Python. Indentation is very important role. That plays a very important role in Python. The number of spaces in indentation is variable, but all statements within the block must be indented at the same amount. Both blocks in this example are fine. For example, this one and this one, but this is right and this is wrong. Why? Second block in this example will generate an error. Why? Because of the indentation. This print should have been here itself. It is at a different level. So this print is okay, this print is okay, but this is going inside. So this is not a part of the block. This will generate an error. That's the important point about indentation. So you must indent Python programs at the same level of within the same block. These are some reserved words of Python like and, exec, not, or, pass, print, raise, return, try, while, with, yield, lambda, is, in, import, if, global, from, for. How many words are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 30 words, as I said. C language have 32. All language have around the same set of words. Assert, break, class, continue, def, deal, else if, that is elif. The same in shell scripting also. Else is there in shell scripting also. Except. So these are the keywords. You can't use these words in your identifiers, your variable names. You can't have this. Quotation in Python. Python accepts single quotes, double quotes and triple quotes. I mean 3 times single quote or double quote 3 times. To denote string literals as long as the same type of quote starts and ends the string. The triple quote can be used to span strings across multiple lines. For example, this is legal. Word, it is a single word in single quote, this is fine. Sentence in double quote, this is fine. But paragraph, you put in triple quote and you close in triple quote, that is paragraph, and this is spreading across multiple lines. Comments in Python like shell scripting, hash sign that is not inside the string literal begin the comment. Like for example print statement, but after semicolon you are writing hash, that means whatever you write here that will be treated as comment. Start line itself is starting with hash, that means entire thing is comment. Same thing we have in shell scripting as well. As I said, you will find similarity actually. Semicolon is end of statement in shell scripting as well. Same thing. You will find the similarity. Name equal to Sangwan. So this is again comment. This part onward. But this is a variable assigned a value. But after that hash, this is again a comment. You can comment multiple lines also by putting hash in front of every line. So that's just like shell scripting. User input and output. If you have to take input from the user, as I explained again, this is same thing. You can use input function. This input function assume the input is a valid Python expression and return the evaluated result to you. Like if you can assign it to a variable, the value will go to the variable. If not, it will display it back to you. Like X it will display the value 10, like if you typed 10 in front of this prompt. Waiting for the user. This following line of program display the prompt, press the enter key to exit, and wait for the user to press enter key. Same thing. So this is shebang. Now what we are doing in this example, we are putting the command in a file. This file name may be anything. Let me show you this program. I already have this program. So to exit from this, we type exit and this function like parenthesis start and close. This is how it will exit. So Python 3. Let me show you first the program Python. I created the directory only for Python. So this is the program which I was showing in the slide. Python user bin Python 3. I'm using Python 3 interpreter, compiler. Input, press any key to continue. This -n is basically new line, so it will display 2 lines. And if you want to display tabs, I can type /t again, the enter key to exit. And then if I want to execute this program, I type Python 3 and then program name python1.py. So first 2 blank lines because of /n, and then tabs because of 3 tabs because of the /t I typed. So /n is being used to create 2 new lines before displaying the actual line. Once the user presses the key, the program ends because there is no other program, there is no other command. This can be used to keep a console window open until the user is done with an application. That makes sense. All command line options, if you want to study, you can type -h. Actually this is a huge list, but some of them are mentioned. So this is the help you want to get. You can use Python 3 -h and that will display all the options. There are so many options here. That's all for this session. I'm sure you enjoyed it and you learned what Python is so much.